Another thing I think we really need to stay focused on, too, is attacks on embassies and consulates.
Why do you think that?
Because they are working on it.
You know this, we have a Patreon account. They're our top supporters. They're the reason I get to sit here and you get to sit here, and they've been with us since the beginning. So one of the things I do is I offer them a question in the interview.
Okay.
And so we got a couple of good ones here. The first one is from Leo, and his question is, what type of attacks and locations do you foresee these terrorists choosing?
The interesting part is, I don't think a lot has changed on what terrorists want to attack, right? Like, they want to hit soft targets. They want to embarrass governments or whomever their enemy is, right? And they want to make a lot of things seem it was inspired by them, right? Even just in the last couple of weeks, we've seen lone wolf videos come out from Al-Qaeda, then Al-Qaeda in the Arab Peninsula and ISIS, right? And they're like, hey, go do things inspired by us. So they still want to kind of get a lot of people involved to kind of like plus up their numbers, right? And make them seem bigger than they are and more powerful than they are. Another thing I think we really need to stay focused on too is attacks on embassies and consulates. The terrorists have seen, hey, that's a quick and easy way to push the U.S. government out of a location. And so I think that's going to go back to the old days, like we saw some big ones in the 90s. And I think they're probably planning now the same type of thing.
Do you think are there any specific embassies you think they're going to target?
Yes.
Do you want to say?
I think one is the U.S. Embassy in Bamako in Mali, and then I think the other one is on the Saudi Peninsula.
Why do you think that?
Because they are working on it.
They are. Roger that. Roger that. The next question is from Brody. In your opinion, are we more likely to suffer an attack on infrastructure like power grid, water supply, etc., or an attack on human life or soft targets?
Yeah.
What group is most likely to and has the resources to pull off such an attack?
So it's almost two different things, right? Like the terrorists focus on the soft targets. It's almost like the nation state and the near peer who focus on what we would call the infrastructure, the power grid, etc. So it's actually two very different threats, but they're both very active threats, right? Because like, let's say if we were going to go to war with China, well, if they have now taken control of large portions of our electric grid, large portions of our ports, right? They can shut all that down and prevent us from responding to situations. So it's like you almost have to look at terrorism in a different lens, right? When you kind of look at the nation state level. So I do think both are a threat, but they're from different actors.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.